Welcome back to the channel, guys. We're gonna do another video, archery related, this time with Hunter. We're gonna get him going over some mistakes that he makes while shooting his bow, fixing him to be a little more consistent with his shots, which are gonna get his groups a lot tighter when he shoots. And we're gonna go over his setup, hopefully fix him up, get him shooting better. He's a new archer. He hasn't been shooting very long, so we're gonna try to nip some things in the butt pretty quick and get him to be a lot more accurate. Stay tuned. All right, guys, so we are here with Hunter. Hunter's a new archer. Like I said, he got set up Christmas time. Didn't really start shooting until a month or two after that. It's too cold here. And we're just gonna go over Hunter's setup here. So Hunter is shooting a diamond prism. He is shooting a 27.5-inch draw length. He's shooting 28-inch arrows. He's got an IQ bow sight. He's got a trophy ridge stabilizer. He's got a wrist sling. Let's see, he's got a limb saver Teflon slide. He's got a whisker biscuit rest, which I'd like to upgrade him to a drop away eventually. He's shooting just at about 40 pounds. He could probably go a little higher, but I'd rather have him get a little more consistent with his shooting before I do bump up the poundage on him a little bit. So that's his setup. So now I'm going to go over and show you the little things that I've seen that he makes mistakes with, and what actually helps him into shooting a little bit better and a little more consistent, that I try to fix consistently. I'm going to put things into his mind that before he takes a shot, every time he does these things, and it stays in his head that way. Eventually it just clicks and he doesn't even have to think about it. Okay, I'm going to show you guys right off the bat a few things that he consistently does. I'm just going to let him do what he does. I'm just going to let him draw. He's got a target. We have a target out, DIY target we just did a video on, by the way. And I'm going to let him shoot at 20 yards here. That was actually a really good shot. But a couple of the common things I notice him doing a lot is when he's standing there, his feet are kind of either too close together or they're kind of, one leg is bent. So I like to try to get him in a nice straight up posture. A lot of times when he's shooting, he likes to lean back when he's drawing, and I want him to be straight up and down, his legs a nice base, shoulder width apart, keeping himself open here. When he draws back, I want his body to stay straight up and down, not leaning back. So knock an arrow. Draw back. I like to get him to hold his bow up. We like this elbow here to be a nice triangle, everything straight in line. Let's see the front of his body. Yeah, he's still a little, yeah, we want that nice straight up and down. Go ahead and shoot.
Put on low.
Yeah, shot a little low. You're probably holding back a little bit.
Too low.
Yeah. So that's one of the things that I've noticed with him big time, is we need to keep him straight up and down. Second thing, knock another arrow. Now, when he draws back, go ahead and draw back. Another common thing that I kept noticing with him is his anchor point wasn't solid. I like to get to where your hand is in the same spot every time. You feel that knuckle on your first finger here. Nice solid back wall here, anchored into behind your jawline right there. Go ahead and release that. That's actually another good shot that he made. But that was another thing he was doing quite often, is once in a while his hand would actually be a little bit off of his face. You know, he'd be leaning back, so his anchor point would be, you know, much further back. By standing up straight, His anchor point is exactly where it needs to be. I like that first knuckle to be right behind his jaw, right here, right in this little notch under his ear behind his jaw. That's going to give you a consistent placement and a much more consistent shot. Another thing he used to do that I kept trying to fix, go ahead, knock an arrow, draw back, is how he was gripping his bow. I like to keep everything wide open and free, putting no, let's let him get this shot off, putting no pressure or tension on the front of his bow, causing any kind of a torque left, right, forward, up and down. Just, it's got to be sitting free in there. And what I like to also show him too is when he shoots and he's got his hand out, we want it sitting right in this lifeline of his hand right here. Right there. Nice and free, so when he puts his hand in, the only thing holding his bow in his hand is him with the pressure drawing back and keeping that bow back. Now, those things have made a significant change in his groupings and where his arrows are. A lot of times too, he draws back and he'll hold back and he's concentrating so much on getting that pin on the spot that he wants to, that the pin's moving all over the place and he's trying to, and then he makes a bad shot. I like to get him to where he anchors back in his draw cycle, stays there nice and solid and steady, and then pulls through the shot. I'm going to go over one more problem that he has, in which he makes a mistake a lot of times, is once he draws back, first thing we're going to remember, right? Our form needs to be good. We need to be straight up and down. We're going to draw back. We're going to anchor to our solid point, what you consistently feel there, in there, yep. Not too much pressure on the string with his nose. Not too much facial pressure burying that on his face. There we go. Another problem he's had that has impacted his consistency in his groupings is after he shoots, he drops his bow down really quick to see where his shot ends up. So that's another thing we do not want to do. We want to hold our bow up there after our shot, and when we pull through, we push with this hand forward, we pull back with this hand, the shot goes off, kind of surprises you, and then your bow just naturally kind of drops off. You don't ever want to drop your bow down to see where your shot went, because that's going to impact the flight of your arrow. So those are a few things that I've taught him to kind of help him out. We put him through a routine. We check your feet, we check your posture, we get that nice solid anchor point, right? We don't worry too much about holding that sight pin right on your target. What helps a lot of times too is choosing a larger target to shoot at instead of something so small that you're trying to keep your pin in there. And with that, you got the push with your hand in the front, the pull with your release hand, get that surprising shot to go off, and that should significantly help with the groupings of your arrows and get you shooting a lot more consistent. So that's just one quick thing that we've been working on. His groups have significantly gotten better. I'll take you up and I'll actually show you them. And that's it. All right, so let's just run you through his steps real quick. Remember, your feet first, your posture, straight up and down, your legs straight, not one bent in or bent forward or anything, just nice straight up and down. Get your bow up, kind of get your, yep, get on target, nice anchor, keep your bow nice and straight. There you go, your body is nice and straight, not gripping the grip there. All right, definitely you torqued that shot. So I'll show you what that's going to look like when we get up there. Take 2 more shots, and then I'll show you what happens when he actually shoots correctly, the difference. Keep your body nice and straight. Nice shot. One more. Now again, this is at 20 yards which is probably going to be about his limit as of right now as to which he can actually shoot a deer, which I would actually allow him to shoot a deer. Okay, now he executed two good shots there. We're gonna actually take you up here to the target, and I'm gonna show you. He knew too right away. He said, oh, that first one I torqued, which he definitely did. And then I'm gonna show you the difference. So here's his first shot. As you can see, not anywhere near the center of this target, which he was actually aiming at, but because he torqued his bow when he shot, which he knew, which is great. He knew when he made a mistake, and he shot way right. Now the next two shots he executed very well, and you can see there yourself, those groupings are much better. So guys, I just wanted to make that quick little video to show you a new archer, show you some common mistakes that are commonly made with kids that are first shooting. Even adults, when they first start shooting, commonly make some mistakes. Archery is definitely about being consistent, and you will definitely see better results when you are much more consistent in your everyday shooting.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the camera just took a little bit of a spill. I had to fix that real quick, but that is just some common things I've noticed with him. And once that gets engraved into your head, the little mistakes that you're making, and then you go through a whole shot process before you even draw your bow to kind of get yourself set up to where you're going to consistently do the same thing. Eventually, that's going to just come natural, where he doesn't even have to think, hey, let me set my feet. Hey, let me get the proper anchor point. Let me make sure my body's straight up in line. And eventually it's just going to come, and he's going to be shooting much more consistent. Again, this is probably maybe his 20th time shooting his bow. I would say probably, even if that, right? So he's learning. He's got a solid month before the season comes to where that one flying arrow that he shot off to the right because he torqued his bow isn't going to nearly happen. And if it does, it's not going to happen to that extreme. So we're going to fix that. He's going to shoot a lot more consistently. Once he gets very consistent at that 20 yards, he's been shooting at 10 and he shoots solid at 10. We backed him up to 20. Once he gets solid at 20, we'll probably back him up to 25 yards, and then eventually 30, and then further. But we need to fix those little mistakes first that he's making to get his groups a little more consistently, and then we can sight him in even better for 30 yards, 35 yards, 40 yards, for when we're shooting 3D. So as of right now, I would let him shoot 20 yards max at a deer. We're going to get him to where the season's ready to go, and we're going to probably bump that up to about 25 yards. We might increase his poundage probably a little bit more, and that's going to be it. So I'm sure he's already learned a lot. I definitely see a big improvement in his grouping, and that's about it. Do you have anything you want to say about learning how to shoot?
It's been fun.
Yeah.
I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, it's fun to shoot. It's definitely relaxing, and it's something that's really fun to get into, and you kind of get bitten by that bug pretty quick. You just want to continue getting better and keep learning.
Yep.
So until the next video, Hunter and I are out. We'll see you on the next one.